Hey everybody, Bo Groover here, coming to you from Atlanta, Georgia. I'm in self-quarantine like most of you are. I'm wearing one of my favorite sweatshirts, as I imagine a lot of you guys are. Just following up on the weekly series that we're trying to do to help navigate this time frame that we're in. It's crazy. And hopefully sharing some tips and points that will help you guys figure things out as well. So last week we talked about 3 key things. Number 1, don't panic. It is a trying time. It's a weird time. Most of us have never seen anything like this. So it's up to us to demonstrate leadership by staying calm in a stressful situation. Number 2, keep things as close to normal as you can. And this means a couple of things, but if going to the gym is out because the gym is closed, then you still need to do something. Go for a walk, do some calisthenics, do push-ups, squats, whatever at home. Keep your routine going. This would be a great time to lose track and put on some pounds that you don't want. And then number 3, please look for multiple sources for your news. Unfortunately, a lot of people get their news from Facebook. And if I'm being honest, our mainstream media is certainly biased one way or the other. So if you're worried about something, you're thinking about something, you heard something that you're not sure about, please check it out and make sure you're validating, you're corroborating it. So, as we're moving through this, there's a lot of things that are still not known. We don't know what the government is going to do as far as a stimulus package. Our president is talking about a $2 trillion package, but we don't know that, right? And we don't know any of the details. When is that going to happen? Is it going to happen? What is it going to do for my company versus other companies? Lots of unknowns. However, it is appropriate that we start talking about those plans and next steps. So I want to give you a couple of things to be thinking about, hopefully some things that you can go do something with, and they all center around the little word if. If is a very, very powerful word. Now, some of you guys may know the story of ancient Sparta, and around 350 BC, King Philip II of Macedon was he started invading Greece. And as he started getting footholds inside Greece, he started thinking about going after Sparta. So he sent them this letter, very threatening letter, and it said, "If once I enter into your territories, I will destroy ye all, never to rise again." And the leaders of Sparta at the time replied with one word, if. So if you don't think that's awesome, you might want to check your pulse, because that's stinking awesome. But it does point out something very important, the power of the word if. And so we're going to talk a little bit about the actual ifs in the next section. But right now I want to talk about how should you be having these conversations with your team. And as always, this should not be a single act of courage, right? This is not the head man or woman locking themselves in the office for a 4-hour marathon. I'm going to bang out a bunch of stuff. This needs to be done with your team. However the leadership team is formed for your department, for your company, for your organization, you need to be having these conversations and working to start discussing these things, right? So there's a process side of this that is, what does our company need to do? And that's what you're after. But there's also the human side. A lot of people are worried. A lot of people are scared. Don't know what it's going to turn out to be. Don't know how it's going to look. And so giving your team a chance to interact formally is a pretty powerful thing. The second thing to remember is the folks who aren't in that room definitely need to be hearing from you. Okay? What are you thinking about? What are you worried about? What are you working on? What news are you going off of? Those kinds of things, because if left to their own devices, for some reason we humans choose the worst possible thing. If you've ever known that friend that gets a headache and an hour after they get the headache, it must be a brain tumor. So imagine that guy texting with a whole bunch of other guys and gals in your organization about how bad things are, because that's probably what's going to happen if you don't step in to fill the void. So what I would strongly encourage you guys to do, or at least think about if you're not already doing it, is setting up some kind of weekly or twice a week meeting and talk about these things with your colleagues. What are you thinking about? What are you worried about? Sweatshirts are okay. Kids playing in the background is okay. A dirty desk is okay. The point is, give your folks an outlet to interact and interface with each other. If you can, use one of the platforms that allows some kind of camera interface so you can see each other's faces and facial expressions and all of that stuff. It's important that we remain connected to one another even though we can't physically be in the same spot. And the point of all this is, finally, think about the clarity. What's the next step that you guys need to do? In some cases, that might be playing out a couple of different scenarios. What if the stimulus package looks like this? What if it looks like that? What if this the situation is prolonged for 30 days, 60 days, 90 days? So again, on the next section, we'll talk about more of those details. But right now, I want you thinking about how do you get your team together to talk about these issues and to get them starting to become more aggressive and proactive into how do they navigate out of this, because this too will pass. We will get through this as we have everything so far. When we all pull together, we're better off, and here's a chance for us to rally our teams, to create some good communication points for the rest of our teams, and to start figuring out what is that next right thing that we need to do as a team, as an organization. Next week, we'll talk about the what ifs, some of the questions that we're working on, some of the questions that we're getting asked, and love to hear any of your comments or thoughts on how you guys are dealing with this situation. So let's have the conversation. Let's help each other get through this, because it's a crazy time and we're not out of the woods yet. See you soon.